Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to address a powerful theme, killing silence. Silence can be both a refuge and a prison. While moments of silence can foster reflection, too often they represent missed opportunities for connection, growth, and change. Ladies and gentlemen, now I want to talk to you about the incredible power of words and the profound impact of silence. In a world filled with noise, it's easy to underestimate the strength of what we say and what we choose not to say. Words have the power to uplift, inspire, and transform lives, while silence can either protect or trap us. Let's take a moment to reflect on history. Consider the legendary speeches of Martin Luther King Jr. His "I Have a Dream" speech did not just echo through the streets of Washington, D.C., it resonated in the hearts of millions. King's words became a rallying cry for justice, equality, and hope. They painted a vision of a better future, breaking the silence surrounding civil rights and challenging the status quo. His eloquence turned despair into determination, encouraging people to stand up and be heard. Now let's think about another figure from history. Anne Frank. Her diary, filled with thoughts and feelings penned during a time of darkness, is a powerful testament to the strength of written words. Anne's reflections gave voice to the silent struggles of many during the Holocaust. Through her writing, she became a symbol of hope and resilience, showing us that even in the bleakest circumstances, our words can create a connection that transcends time and space. She showed us that silence is not always golden. Sometimes it's a cry for understanding and acknowledgement. In our everyday lives, we experience the impact of words constantly. Have you ever received a compliment from a friend or a stranger? Those simple phrases can turn a rough day into something beautiful. Words have the ability to make someone feel valued and appreciated. They can encourage a child to pursue their dreams or help a colleague feel confident in their abilities. On the flip side, harsh words can wound deeply. A thoughtless comment can linger in someone's mind for years, shaping their self-esteem and perception of the world. Let's consider the story of a teacher who changed a student's life with just a few kind words. This teacher noticed that one of her students was struggling with math. Instead of simply pointing out the flaws in his work, she sat down with him and said, "I believe in you. You can do this." That simple expression of faith ignited spark in that young boy. With her encouragement, he not only improved his math skills, but also gained the confidence to tackle challenges in other areas of his life. Her words became a foundation for his future success. However, there are also times when silence speaks volumes. Think about a moment when you felt the weight of silence in a room. It can be a powerful force. In times of grief, silence allows us to process our emotions and be present with one another. A shared silence can be a sign of support and understanding as we stand together in our pain. It shows that sometimes words are not needed, being there for someone is enough. Yet silence can also be detrimental. It can serve as a barrier, preventing important conversations from happening. In workplaces, for instance, when employees remain silent about their ideas or concerns, innovation stagnates. A culture that discourages open dialogue can lead to frustration and disengagement. Companies that encourage their employees to speak up often find that creativity flourishes. When people feel safe to share their thoughts, great ideas emerge. The struggle to break free from silence is something we all face. Many people hold back due to fear of judgment, fear of being misunderstood, or fear of conflict. It takes courage to voice our opinions and stand up for what we believe in. Think about a time when you wanted to speak out but hesitated. What held you back? Often it is the fear of being alone in our beliefs. Yet, history has shown us that those who dare to speak often inspire others to do the same. Take, for example, Malala Yousafzai. At a young age, she bravely spoke out for girls' education in Pakistan, even when faced with danger. Her words were not just for herself, they represented the dreams and aspirations of millions of girls around the world. When she was attacked for her activism, she didn't remain silent. Instead, she continued to advocate for education, becoming a global symbol of courage and resilience. Malala's journey reminds us that speaking up can spark movements and inspire change, even in the face of adversity. In our daily lives, we can learn from these examples. Whether in our families, friendships, or workplaces, let's strive to be more mindful of our words and the silences we allow. Let's create spaces where everyone feels comfortable expressing their thoughts and emotions. Encourage those around you to share their ideas. You might be surprised by the richness that emerges when voices come together. Remember, the words we choose can change lives. A simple thank you can brighten someone's day, and an open conversation can heal wounds. Let's challenge ourselves to speak up, to break the silence when it matters and to use our voices for good. As we move forward, let's commit to being champions of communication, creating a culture of openness where silence is not a barrier but a choice made out of respect and understanding. Together we can inspire change, empower each other, and build a future where every voice is heard. So let's embrace the power of our words and recognize that while silence can be meaningful, it's our voices that have the potential to create lasting impact. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that affects each and every one of us: the courage to speak up. In a world where silence often feels safer, finding the strength to voice our thoughts and feelings can be a daunting challenge. However, history has shown us that those who dare to speak often ignite change, inspire others, and leave a lasting impact. Let's start with a remarkable figure from history, Nelson Mandela. For decades, Mandela fought against apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation that oppressed millions. His journey to freedom was not just about his own liberation, but also about giving a voice to the voiceless. After spending 27 years in prison, he emerged not with anger, but with a commitment to reconciliation and equality. His words during the trial and later as president inspired a nation to embrace unity. Mandela taught us that speaking out, even when it comes at a great personal cost, can lead to monumental change. Another inspiring story comes from the life of Rosa Parks. On that fateful day in 1955, she sat down in a bus seat that was designated for white passengers. By refusing to give up her seat, she sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and became a powerful symbol in the civil rights movement. Parks' act of defiance was a testament to the courage of ordinary people taking a stand against injustice. Her simple yet powerful refusal to remain silent taught us that sometimes a single action can inspire a movement. In our daily lives, we can find countless examples of the importance of speaking up. Think about a time in school when you witness bullying. Many people often stand by unsure of what to do. But imagine if someone had the courage to step in and say, "That's not right." That single moment of intervention can change the course of someone's life. It can provide support to the victim and encourage others to stand against bullying as well. There's also the story of a young girl named Amber who faced struggles at her school. She loved art but was too shy to share her passion with others. One day, her teacher encouraged her to showcase her work at a school exhibition. With trembling hands, Emma spoke about her artwork, explaining the emotions behind each piece. To her surprise, her classmates were inspired by her story. Emma's courage to share her voice not only helped her overcome her fear, but also motivated others to express themselves. Her experience shows us that speaking up can create a ripple effect, encouraging others to share their own stories. Now let's talk about the importance of advocating for those who cannot speak for themselves. Consider the case of the late Congressman John Lewis. He was a key figure in the civil rights movement, known for his unwavering commitment to justice. Lewis often spoke about the need to get into good trouble, meaning that we should not be afraid to stand up for what is right, even if it means facing opposition. He inspired countless individuals to raise their voices against injustice, reminding us that our words can bring about meaningful change in society. In the workplace, the courage to speak up is just as vital. Employees often hesitate to share their ideas or concerns for fear of being dismissed or criticized. However, organizations thrive when individuals feel empowered to contribute their thoughts. Think about a team meeting where someone shares an innovative idea. That one idea could lead to a breakthrough project or improved working conditions for everyone. When we encourage open dialogue, we create an environment where creativity flourishes and collaboration becomes the norm. Let's not forget the role of social media in amplifying voices today. Platforms like Twitter and Instagram have given rise to movements that challenge the status quo. Take the Me Too movement, for instance. When individuals began to share their stories of harassment and assault, they sparked a global conversation about consent, power, and accountability. The courage to speak out in this movement has not only provided solace to many, but has also led to significant changes in policies and attitudes toward sexual misconduct. It shows us that our voices, when united, can challenge even the most entrenched norms. However, speaking up is not always easy. Many people struggle with self-doubt, fearing that their thoughts may not be valid or worthwhile. It's crucial to remember that every voice matters. Consider the story of a teacher who noticed a student being overlooked in class. Instead of allowing the student to fade into the background, the teacher encouraged him to share his ideas. With each word he spoke, his confidence grew and he began to realize that his insights were valuable. This transformation highlights how one person's encouragement can help others find their voice. Speaking up also means challenging our own fears and assumptions. There are times when we may hesitate to express our opinions, especially if they differ from those around us. But what if we approach these moments with curiosity instead of fear? Imagine a conversation where differing viewpoints are shared respectfully. Such discussions can lead to deeper understanding and connection. By embracing the courage to speak, we can learn from one another and find common ground. As we reflect on the importance of speaking up, let's also consider our own experiences. Each of us has faced moments where we felt the urge to express ourselves but held back. What would have happened if we had taken that leap? Perhaps we could have inspired someone, solved a problem, or simply expressed our true feelings. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you hesitate to speak, remember that your voice has the power to make a difference. In closing, I encourage each of you to embrace the courage to speak up. Whether in your personal lives at work or in your communities, let your voice be heard. Stand up for what you believe in. Support others in finding their voices and create spaces where open dialogue is welcome. Remember, every time you speak up, you are contributing to a larger conversation, one that can lead to a brighter and more inclusive world. Ladies and gentlemen, often we think that staying quiet will keep the peace or avoid conflict, but silence can sometimes lead to misunderstandings and hurt feelings. When we choose not to express ourselves, we miss opportunities to connect, heal, and grow. Let's look back at history for a moment. During World War II, many individuals were aware of the atrocities happening around them but chose to remain silent. One powerful story is that of the Danish people during the Nazi occupation. When the Nazis began rounding up Jews, the Danish resistance organized a remarkable effort to hide and smuggle Jews to safety. The courage of those who spoke up and took action saved thousands of lives. Their silence would have allowed the oppression to continue unchallenged. This serves as a reminder that when we do not speak up against injustice, we contribute to its continuation. In our everyday lives, silence can lead to assumptions and misunderstanding. Imagine a workplace where a colleague feels overwhelmed but doesn't speak up about it. Instead of offering help or support, others may assume everything is fine. The lack of communication creates an environment where problems fester. This can lead to resentment and frustration, which could have been avoided if someone had simply voiced their concerns. Let's consider a more personal example. Think about a friendship that has been strained because of unspoken words. Perhaps two friends had a disagreement, but instead of discussing it, they both chose to stay silent. Over time, what started as a small misunderstanding grows into a wall between them. They begin to harbor negative feelings and assumptions about each other, leading to a complete breakdown in communication. If only they had had the courage to address their feelings openly, they might have resolved their issues and strengthened their bond. We can also learn from the story of a woman named Sarah. She worked in a team where she had a brilliant idea for a project, but she was afraid of what her colleagues might think. Instead of sharing her thoughts during meetings, she remained quiet. As time passed, her silence turned into regret. She watched as her team struggled to find a solution that she knew could have helped. Eventually, Sarah realized that by not speaking up, she had missed a chance to contribute and be part of something meaningful. When she finally mustered the courage to share her ideas, her team welcomed her thoughts, and they found great success together. Sarah's journey highlights how silence can lead to missed opportunities and feelings of inadequacy. Another powerful historical example is the story of the Holocaust. Many individuals chose to remain silent while horrific events unfolded. Those who spoke out, like Oskar Schindler, became known as heroes. Schindler used his voice and resources to save more than 1,000 Jews from persecution. His actions remind us that remaining silent in the face of wrongdoing can perpetuate suffering. When we choose to speak up, we can create change and save lives. In our families, silence can create gaps in understanding. Consider a scenario where a parent is struggling with their child's behavior but feels uncomfortable discussing it. Instead of talking openly, they may withdraw, leaving the child feeling confused and alone. This lack of communication can lead to feelings of rejection and misunderstanding on both sides. Think about the impact of social media in today's world. We often see people posting about their struggles or seeking support. When others respond with understanding and compassion, it creates a sense of community. However, when someone shares their feelings and receives no response, it can lead to feelings of isolation. Remaining silent in these moments can amplify someone's pain. Instead, reaching out and offering support can make a significant difference in someone's life. Silence can also have serious implications in larger societal issues. For example, the Me Too movement highlighted the power of speaking up against harassment. Many individuals who had remained silent about their experiences found the courage to their stories. This wave of voices brought attention to the problem and sparked necessary conversations about consent and accountability. It showed us that silence can often perpetuate a culture of fear, while speaking up can lead to progress and healing. Let's not forget about the importance of encouraging others to express themselves. In classrooms, for instance, teachers play a vital role in fostering a safe environment where students feel comfortable sharing their thoughts. When educators encourage open dialogue, they create a space where students can learn from each other and grow together. This not only enhances their understanding of subjects, but also builds a community of support and empathy. As we reflect on our own lives, think about the times you have remained silent. What feelings or opportunities did you miss? How could the situation have changed if you had spoken up? Each of us has the power to break the cycle of silence. When we choose to share our thoughts and feelings, we can foster understanding and connection. We have the opportunity to create an environment where others feel safe to express themselves as well. Ladies and gentlemen, now I want to explore the fascinating world of conversation and how it can be a powerful catalyst for creativity. Throughout history, some of the most remarkable ideas and innovations have emerged from simple discussions between individuals. When we engage in open dialogue, we create an environment where imagination thrives, leading to discoveries that can change our lives and the world. Let's take a step back and consider the great thinkers of the past. One shining example is Albert Einstein. His theory of relativity revolutionized our understanding of physics, but did you know that many of his ideas developed through conversations with colleagues? Einstein often engaged in discussions with other scientists, bouncing ideas off them and refining his thoughts. This exchange of ideas helped shape his groundbreaking theories. It reminds us that creativity often flourishes in an atmosphere of collaboration and shared thinking. Another historic figure, Thomas Edison, is well known for his inventions, such as the light bulb and phonograph. Edison was not just a solitary genius working alone. He surrounded himself with a team of inventive minds. In his laboratories, he encouraged discussions and brainstorming sessions. This collaborative spirit enabled them to build on each other's ideas, leading to innovations that transformed everyday life. When we think of creativity, we should remember that it is often a team effort rooted in dialogue and shared vision. In our daily lives, we encounter many opportunities for conversations that can spark new ideas. Think about the last time you had a casual chat with a friend or colleague. You might have started with a simple topic, but as the discussion unfolded, you found yourselves diving into deeper subjects, sharing perspectives, and brainstorming solutions to problems. It's in these moments that creativity can blossom. Consider the story of a group of entrepreneurs who met regularly at a local coffee shop. Each week, they would gather to share their challenges and successes. During one of these meetings, someone mentioned the need for a sustainable packaging solution for their products. This sparked an engaging conversation that led to a series of ideas, eventually resulting in a collaboration that launched a successful eco-friendly business. Their creativity was ignited simply by sharing their thoughts and experiences with one another. Let's also reflect on the role of storytelling in igniting creativity. Throughout history, cultures have used storytelling as a way to share knowledge and inspire new ideas. Think of ancient civilizations that gathered around campfires, exchanging tales and wisdom. These stories not only entertained, but also educated and inspired listeners. The sharing of experiences often leads to fresh insights and innovative thinking. In modern times, we can see the impact of storytelling in the world of technology. Take the example of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. He was a master storyteller known for his captivating presentations. When launching new products, he would weave narratives that connected with the audience emotionally. By sharing the vision behind each product, he inspired his team and customers alike. This approach fostered creativity within his organization, leading to groundbreaking innovations like the iPhone and iPad. Jobs demonstrated that when we communicate our ideas effectively, we can motivate others to think creatively. There's also a powerful story of a high school teacher who wanted to inspire her students to think outside the box. She organized a class project where students had to create something from recycled materials. Instead of giving them strict guidelines, she encouraged them to brainstorm and collaborate. The classroom buzzed with energy as students shared ideas, combined their talents, and built incredible projects. Some created art installations, while others designed useful everyday items. By facilitating open conversation and collaboration, the teacher sparked creativity that the students never knew they had. In the realm of art, we often see how collaboration leads to extraordinary creations. Take, for instance, the famous artist Pablo Picasso. He worked closely with other artists and writers, exchanging ideas that pushed the boundaries of traditional art. This collaborative spirit led to the development of movements like Cubism, which forever changed how we perceive visual art. When artists share their visions and challenge each other, they create something unique and groundbreaking. We also witness the power of conversation and problem solving. In any community, challenges arise that require creative solutions. When people come together to discuss their ideas and concerns, they can brainstorm innovative strategies. For instance, during a town hall meeting, residents might share their thoughts on improving local parks. Through discussions, they could come up with plans for new playgrounds, community gardens, or outdoor events that foster connection among neighbors. By engaging in dialogue, they harness the collective creativity of their community. As we consider our own lives, let's not forget the everyday moments that can lead to creative breakthroughs. A simple dinner with friends can spark discussions about passions, dreams, and aspirations. When we share our thoughts openly, we create a safe space for others to do the same. These conversations can lead to new projects, collaborations, or even lifelong friendships. I think about a time when you brainstormed with others. How did it feel? Did you notice how ideas flowed freely and each person built on what was said? It's this type of environment that nurtures creativity. When we listen and respond to each other, we generate a wealth of possibilities. This is why it's so important to foster relationships where open dialogue is encouraged. In closing, I invite each of you to embrace the power of conversation in your lives. Whether in your personal relationships, professional endeavors, or community involvement, let your voice be heard and listen to others with an open heart. Creativity is not confined to a select few. It is a gift that resides within all of us. By engaging in meaningful discussions, we can unlock our potential and inspire one another to think beyond the ordinary. Remember, some of the greatest ideas in history were born from simple conversations. So let's continue to connect, share, and create. Together, we can shape a future filled with innovation, inspiration, and endless possibilities. It be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, the importance of speaking for those who cannot speak for themselves. Throughout history, there have been countless individuals and communities whose voices have been silenced, overlooked, or ignored. It is our responsibility to lend our voices to those who need support, understanding, and representation. Let us reflect on the life of Helen Keller, a remarkable woman who overcame immense challenges. Born in a time when individuals with disabilities were often marginalized, Helen was both deaf and blind. However, she did not allow her disabilities to define her. Through the unwavering support of her teacher, Anne Sullivan, she learned to communicate and advocate for herself and others like her. Helen used her voice to speak out on behalf of the disabled community, fighting for their rights and dignity. She became an inspiration, reminding us that everyone deserves a voice, regardless of their circumstances. In the realm of civil rights, we cannot overlook the profound impact of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He spoke powerfully for the African American community during a time of deep segregation and injustice. King's speeches called for equality, justice, and human rights. His famous "I Have a Dream" speech was not just a personal vision, it was a call to action for all who were oppressed. He articulated the struggles of those who felt powerless, urging society to recognize their humanity and fight for their rights. Through his words, he gave a voice to the countless individuals who suffered in silence. Another powerful example comes from the life of Malala Yousafzai. At a young age, she bravely stood up for girls' education in Pakistan, even in the face of violent opposition. After surviving an assassination attempt by the Taliban, Malala continued to speak out for the right of every child to receive an education. Her courage inspired millions around the globe and brought attention to the plight of girls who were denied education due to cultural and political barriers. Malala's story demonstrates that even in the darkest times, one voice can shine a light on the struggles of many. In our everyday lives, we often encounter situations where people need advocates. And I think about the elderly in our communities who may not have a voice in decisions that affect their lives. Many older individuals feel isolated and unheard. When we take the time to listen to their stories and advocate for their needs, we are speaking up for those who may feel invisible. Simple acts of kindness like visiting a nursing home or volunteering can help bridge the gap between generations and ensure that their voices are heard. We consider the powerful impact of speaking up for animals. Every year, countless animals suffer due to neglect and abuse. Organizations like the ASCA work tirelessly to advocate for animal rights, rescuing those who cannot advocate for themselves. Their efforts remind us that compassion extends beyond humans. By supporting such causes, we can help protect the voiceless creatures who rely on us for their safety and well-being. In the realm of social justice, we see numerous examples of people coming together to speak for marginalized groups. The Me Too movement began when individuals shared their experiences of harassment and assault. Many remained silent for years due to fear or shame. However, as more people found the courage to share their stories, they created a powerful wave of support and awareness. This movement highlights the importance of giving a platform to those who have suffered in silence, encouraging them to share their experiences and seek justice. Moreover, we must recognize the significance of speaking up for those whose voices are silenced due to systemic barriers. In many parts of the world, indigenous communities struggle to have their rights acknowledged. These groups often face discrimination and exploitation. Their cultures and languages at risk of vanishing. When we educate ourselves about their struggles and advocate for their rights, we can help ensure their voices are not lost. Supporting indigenous movements and respecting their sovereignty is crucial in amplifying their voices. In education, it is vital to advocate for students who may struggle to express themselves. Many children face learning disabilities or language barriers that can make it difficult for them to communicate. As teachers, parents, and peers, we have the power to create inclusive environments where every student feels valued. By encouraging open dialogue and understanding, we can help these students find their voices, fostering an atmosphere where they can thrive. We also see the importance of speaking up for mental health awareness. Many individuals experience mental health challenges but feel unable to discuss them openly due to stigma. When we share our stories and support mental health initiatives, we help break down these barriers. By advocating for mental health resources and creating safe spaces for discussion, we empower those who struggle to seek help without fear of judgment. As we reflect on our own lives, consider the moments when you witnessed someone struggling to speak up. Perhaps it was a friend going through a difficult time or a colleague hesitant to share an idea in a meeting. In these situations, our encouragement can make all the difference. A simple "I'm here for you" or "your voice matters" can empower others to express themselves and advocate for their needs. In closing, I urge each of you to embrace the responsibility of speaking for those who cannot. Whether it's advocating for a friend, a community, or a cause, your voice has the power to create change. Let us be the advocates for the voiceless, the allies for the marginalized, and the supporters for those who need our help. Together, we can build a world where everyone is heard and valued, where compassion and understanding reign. Your voice matters, and it can be the beacon of hope for someone who feels lost. Ladies and gentlemen, silence dominating the room, open dialogue can lead to deeper understanding and engagement. Throughout history, we see that questioning has been at the heart of great advancements. Think about Socrates, the ancient Greek philosopher. He believed in the importance of asking questions to stimulate critical thinking. Socratic questioning encourages students to explore ideas, challenge assumptions, and develop their own understanding of the world. This method of inquiry laid the groundwork for modern education and demonstrates how powerful questions can be in fostering intellectual growth. In more recent history, consider the contributions of Albert Einstein. He once said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence." Einstein's curiosity drove him to explore complex scientific concepts, leading to groundbreaking discoveries. His success was rooted in the questions he asked and the willingness to challenge existing knowledge. By promoting a culture of questioning in our classrooms, we encourage students to embrace their curiosity and think like innovators. Let's turn our attention to a real-world example from a school setting. Imagine a science classroom where the teacher encourages students to ask questions about the experiment they are conducting. Instead of simply following instructions, students are invited to wonder why certain reactions occurred and how different variables might affect outcomes. As they ask questions, they engage more deeply with the material, leading to a richer understanding of scientific principles. This interaction transforms a standard lesson into an exciting exploration. In another instance, consider a history teacher discussing the civil rights movement. When students are encouraged to ask questions about the struggles and achievements of activists, they begin to connect with the material on a personal level. A student might ask, what motivated people to join the movement? This question can lead to discussions about courage, community, and the power of collective action. By fostering an atmosphere where questions are welcome, the teacher allows students to explore the emotional and social aspects of history, making the subject come alive. The impact of questions goes beyond academics. In the classroom, they help build confidence and communication skills. When students are invited to share their thoughts, they learn that their voices matter. For example, a shy student may hesitate to speak up, but when a teacher asks open-ended questions, it creates a safe space for that student to contribute. Over time, this encouragement helps them develop their speaking skills and feel more comfortable sharing their ideas. Consider the story of a young girl named Maya. She struggled with reading and often felt discouraged in class. One day, her teacher noticed Maya's potential and began asking her questions about the stories they read. Instead of focusing solely on right or wrong answers, the teacher encouraged Maya to express her thoughts and feelings about the characters and plot. This approach not only improved Maya's reading skills, but also rekindled her love for literature. By inviting her to engage with the material, the teacher transformed Maya's learning experience. The importance of questions is also evident in collaborative learning. In group settings, when students are encouraged to ask each other questions, they learn from one another. This peer interaction fosters teamwork and builds critical thinking skills. For instance, in a math class, students might work together on a problem. As they discuss different approaches, they ask questions like, what happens if we change this number? This inquiry leads to a deeper understanding of mathematical concepts as students learn to explore problems from various angles. Furthermore, in today's fast-paced world, we must prepare students for an ever-changing future. Encouraging questions helps develop skills that are essential for success in the 21st century, such as adaptability, problem-solving, and creative thinking. Where students learn to ask questions, they become lifelong learners who seek knowledge and solutions beyond the classroom. This mindset is invaluable as they navigate their future careers and contribute to society. We can also look at how technology has changed the way we learn. In the digital age, students have access to vast amounts of information at their fingertips. However, this abundance of resources can be overwhelming. By teaching students to ask the right questions, we empower them to sift through information critically. For instance, instead of passively consuming content, they can ask, is this source credible? Or what is the author's perspective? This skill not only enhances their research abilities, but also prepares them to be informed citizens. As we reflect on our own experiences in the classroom, think about how questions shaped your learning journey. Perhaps a teacher encouraged you to ask why things are the way they are, or to consider different viewpoints. These moments of inquiry can leave a lasting impact, inspiring a passion for learning that continues long after leave the classroom. In closing, I encourage each of you to embrace the power of questions in your classrooms and beyond. Let us create environments where curiosity is celebrated and every student feels empowered to ask and explore. By doing so, we not only enhance learning, but also cultivate a generation of thinkers, innovators, and compassionate individuals. Together, we can foster a culture of inquiry that leads to endless possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout time, individuals who have had the courage to voice their beliefs and stand against injustice have shaped the world in profound ways. Their actions inspire us and remind us of the importance of speaking up for what is right. Let us journey back in time to the era of the American Revolution. Figures like Patrick Henry were not afraid to raise their voices against tyranny. In his famous speech, he proclaimed, "Give me liberty or give me death." This bold declaration rallied many to join the fight for independence. Henry understood that silence in the face of oppression could lead to a loss of freedom. His words echoed across the colonies and ignited a movement that changed the course of history. By speaking out, he inspired others to take action and stand up for their rights. Similarly, we can look at the life of Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison for his fight against apartheid in South Africa, Mandela emerged as a beacon of hope. He spoke passionately about equality and justice, encouraging his fellow citizens to envision a better future. His determination to end racial oppression not only changed his country, but also inspired movements around the world. Mandela showed us that even in the darkest times, speaking out can lead to profound change. Another remarkable example comes from the civil rights movement in the United States. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is perhaps one of the most recognized figures in this struggle. He used his voice to advocate for equality and justice for African Americans. His famous "I Have a Dream" speech painted a picture of hope and unity, urging people to come together for a common cause. King's willingness to speak out against injustice helped bring about significant changes in legislation, paving the way for a more just society. His legacy teaches us that the power of our words can inspire countless others to join the fight for what is right. In our daily lives, we can find inspiration in those who have chosen to speak out even when it was difficult. Take the story of Malala Yousafzai, a young girl from Pakistan who bravely stood up for girls' education in the face of Taliban oppression. After surviving an assassination attempt, she continued to advocate for the right to education for all children. Malala's courage has turned her into a global symbol for the fight against discrimination and violence. Her story reminds us that one voice can change the world, no matter how young or seemingly powerless. Let's also consider the impact of local heroes in our communities. In many places, individuals have taken a stand against issues like bullying, homelessness, or environmental degradation. For example, a teenager might start a campaign to raise awareness about mental health issues in schools. By sharing their own struggles and encouraging open conversations, they help others feel less alone. This brave act can lead to increased understanding and support among peers, proving that anyone can make a difference by speaking out. We also see the importance of speaking up in the realm of social justice. In recent years, movements like Black Lives Matter have highlighted the experiences of marginalized communities. Activists have used their voices to shed light on systemic racism and inequality, urging society to recognize and address these issues. The courage of these individuals to speak out against injustice has sparked conversations worldwide, leading to increased awareness and change. Their bravery teaches us that we must continue to advocate for those whose voices are often silenced. In the workplace, speaking up can also create a culture of transparency and trust. Employees who feel empowered to share their ideas or concerns contribute to a more innovative and productive environment. Consider a situation where an employee notices a flaw in a process that could lead to significant cost savings. By voicing this concern, they not only improve efficiency, but also encourage others to share their insights. This kind of open communication fosters teamwork and collaboration, proving that every voice matters. We should also think about the role of educators in encouraging students to speak out. When teachers create safe spaces for discussion, students feel empowered to share their thoughts and opinions. This not only enhances their learning experience, but also prepares them to be active participants in society. For instance, a teacher who encourages students to debate current events helps them develop critical thinking skills. These students learn that their voices have power and that they can influence the world around them. In our own lives, we can reflect on the moments when we chose to speak up. Perhaps it was standing up for a friend who was being treated unfairly or sharing our opinions in a community meeting. Each time we use our voices, we contribute to a culture of advocacy and understanding. Our actions remind others that it's okay to speak out, and that together we can affect change. As we look to the future, we must remember the importance of using our voices. History is filled with examples of those who dared to speak out, and we have the opportunity to add our stories to this legacy. Each of us has the power to make a difference. Whether it's in our communities, workplaces, or families, we should embrace the responsibilities to stand up for what we believe in and to support those who may not have the courage to do so. In closing, let us take inspiration from the great leaders and everyday heroes who have come before us. History remembers those who dare to speak out, and we have the chance to join their ranks. Together, let's foster an environment where everyone feels empowered to share their thoughts, where dialogue replaces silence, and where our collective voices create a brighter future. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, we've seen that silence often serves as a breeding ground for confusion and conflict, making it essential for us to find the courage to speak up. Let's begin with a powerful historical example, the case of the Holocaust. Many individuals stood by and remained silent as atrocities unfolded. This silence allowed injustice to flourish. In the aftermath, countless lives were lost, and many families were shattered. The horrors of this period remind us that failing to speak out against wrongdoing can have devastating consequences. When people choose silence in the face of oppression, it often leads to a lack of accountability and a cycle of suffering. Consider also the story of Martin Luther King Jr. During the civil rights movement, King faced fierce opposition, but he refused to silence. His words and actions challenged the status quo and inspired countless individuals to join the fight for equality. Had he chosen to remain quiet, the movement would have lost its momentum and many injustices might have continued unchecked. King's legacy teaches us that speaking out can create ripples of change that resonate through time. In our daily lives, we experience the consequences of silence in various ways. Think about a situation in a friendship where one person feels hurt but decides not to share their feelings. The silence can lead to misunderstandings. Perhaps the other friend is unaware of the hurt and continues to act as usual. Over time, resentment can build and the relationship may suffer. By speaking up, the friend could express their feelings and clarify the situation, preventing unnecessary conflict. Another relatable example can be found in families. When disagreements arise, some family members may choose to stay quiet instead of addressing the issues. This silence can create a rift, leading to feelings of isolation and misunderstanding. For instance, siblings who don't communicate openly about their frustrations can find themselves drifting apart. However, when they gather the courage to discuss their feelings, they often find common ground and strengthen their bond. Open communication helps prevent misunderstandings and fosters a loving environment. The workplace provides another context where silence can have negative consequences. When employees feel they cannot speak up about issues like workload, management decisions, or team dynamics, it can lead to decreased morale and productivity. For example, an employee who feels overwhelmed but stays silent might become disengaged and unmotivated. On the other hand, if that individual expresses their concerns, it opens the door for constructive discussions and solutions. Encouraging an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing can prevent misunderstandings and promote a healthy workplace culture. We also see the impact of silence in social movements. Many times individuals remain silent due to fear of backlash or the belief their voices won't matter. However, history has shown us that collective voices can lead to meaningful change. The women's suffrage movement, for instance, faced tremendous opposition, but the courage of those who spoke out helped secure the right to vote for women. Their voices, once silenced, became a powerful force for equality. In the realm of mental health, silence can be particularly damaging. Many people struggle with feelings of anxiety, depression, or loneliness, but feel unable to share their experiences due to stigma. This silence can exacerbate their struggles, leading to deeper isolation. By speaking openly about mental health, we can break down barriers and foster understanding. Sharing our stories can encourage others to seek help, reminding them they are not alone. This kind of dialogue is essential for healing. Moreover, silence in communication can lead to assumptions and misinterpretations. For instance, in a romantic relationship, if one partner feels neglected but doesn't express their feelings, the other partner might be unaware of the issue. This lack of communication can result in hurt feelings and distance. When partners speak openly, they can resolve misunderstandings and strengthen their connection. As we reflect on these examples, it becomes clear that silence often leads to missed opportunities for connection, understanding, and healing. Each time we choose to speak up instead of staying silent, we create a space for dialogue and resolution. We empower ourselves and others to address challenges head-on, fostering relationships built on trust and honesty. In closing, let us embrace the power of our voices. We must recognize that silence can lead to misunderstanding and hurt feelings, both personally and in our communities. By choosing to speak up, we can prevent unnecessary conflicts and create a more compassionate world. Each of us has the ability to make a difference by fostering open communication and understanding. Let us be inspired by those who have spoken out in history and in our lives, and remember that our voices matter. Together, we can break the silence and build a brighter future filled with connection, empathy, and healing.